Yeah. What about you, Duck?
Well, I've been playing speeds for way longer. I don't know since when, really. I know that I came back to playing Tribalwars in 2016 and started playing more on the Brazilian server because that was the server that was open. My home server was not open at that time, so I had to play there, and I learned how to play a bit. Um, Unfortunately, uh, with bad influences that taught me how to use illegal stuff, but we'll talk more about that later. Um, and then with all of that, I eventually kept playing, and oh, there's one hand in the air. I didn't even know this was possible. Anyway, well, we might allow that later. Um,
Yeah, he needs to fix his mic.
it happened a lot. My mic is something interesting. Um, but yeah, then the Portuguese server reopened its speed server, and a bit after there was an international tournament, a 10v10 tournament, which we will be talking about later. Um, and that was basically what got me the most excited about playing the game because then, before the tournament, I just used to play for fun. It was fun to play with some random people, meet more people. But that tournament really showed me that this game has much more to offer than just casual speed rounds that we play from time to time. There's there is the potential for a competitive side on this game that I believe you guys could be interested on, and well, this is basically our attempt to convince you to give it a try. um, After that, I've made my own speed community. I have a Discord server mainly dedicated to speeds. I'm not gonna talk much about it here because Georgia will probably ban me realistically. but but I do have that, and I've met a lot of people who are interested on speeds. A lot of people who have played um, competitive speeds before. There was a server dedicated to competitive speeds before Tribalwars.masters. I know a lot of people who played there and who have great experiences of the past times and would probably like to see it again happening. So yeah, we'll be here talking about all of that and all of what we think could make the game better and try to convince you to give it a try, basically.
Yeah, for sure. What's your opinion about like the reopening on .NET server? They stopped making speeds for a while and now they just began again.
Right. I believe it made the .NET server way better, at least so far. We haven't seen it for very long, but um, question for my part. Okay, we'll see the questions after. Um, I believe the .NET server is being handled way better now. It is the international server, and it definitely needs to be well handled. And we're seeing the server have 24/7 rounds now. We're seeing very varied settings. Before this, we were basically just seeing N zeros on the net server, and no one really wanted to play
Yeah,
that. Or I don't know. It really threw me off
at
from
least not
playing.
competitive people.
Yeah, it was mostly just boring rounds, and now we see very different settings, and I have to praise Google for the work and Basant because you guys are doing a very great job. So yeah, keep it up. Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
definitely.
Google and Basant for the win. You guys can always talk in the discussion chat. That's what it's there for. And the questions chat, you can ask some questions, and we'll be
Yeah, we
answering
can
after.
ask you some questions as well.
Yeah,
Because in the middle of the thing, because I don't want to just get into talking about tournaments so quickly, you
yeah,
know?
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, so we can answer some questions. Like Jojo asked a question.
No, no,
How would you like
let's go from the older
you want to
questions to. I think that's better.
oh, what older?
The first message on the questions box chat. I think we should start with
Oh,
that.
oh, we answer these two. Okay.
Yeah,
So top 3 scripts. Um I don't know if there's like top scripts. If you're talking about speeds, I would say it's probably the FA keepers for sure. Um What else? FA Key Press, the farm up script. I think it got legal in .NET, didn't it?
It's not legal on the net server, so we can't
Never
we
mind.
can't talk about that here. It's legal on other servers, but not here.
I don't say I don't think I cannot think of three scripts right now. I just say the farm up. I don't know. I don't really use any other scripts like FA Keepers. I mean, FA Keepers is the only thing I use
Right.
basically.
Yeah, keypress is no doubt the most important script for speeds. If you don't use that, you'll be at a really big disadvantage. Um, if more experienced players are here on speeds, they can tell you how important having keypress is. It really makes a very big difference, and without it, you're just gonna stay behind in farming. There's no other way to put that. But there are very useful scripts that are not only keypress. Keypress is of course the most important, but there are other scripts that are very useful. They do not have such a big impact on your gameplay as keypress, but they definitely are very helpful. For example, there's a script that lets you rename the commands, the incoming attacks, with the back
Oh, I
time.
forgot about that.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
very useful. You just rename the incoming attacks with that, and then even in the report you'll have the back time. And it's amazing how, well, some years ago we didn't have those scripts as being legal, but now we have those scripts functioning well, and they they really make illegal scripts very useless because they are way better than illegal scripts. We have another script, for example, that makes it way easier to collect barbs. It's the hide barbs script. We can use it on the map, and it will hide all of the barbarians that we have in the farm assistant. So then you can just collect new barbs easier to your farm assistant, and it makes your job way easier in getting new barbs to your farm assistant. So yeah.
Okay, so he's saying top three tips for a newbie. So I wouldn't say like I don't want to say like three general tips. I would say the biggest, no, it's not a tip, it's actually an advice. It's like if you want to get better at this at speeds, you should probably just like get into join the community, like watch videos about it, like try and learn and like ask better players about stuff. Like I would say that's the biggest thing. A tip though, I would say don't try and get very good like fast, because you might get disappointed if you don't see like a if you don't get good quickly. So that's what I would say. Do you have any tips, Duck?
I would have to say that getting into speeds now is very different from getting into speeds like 3 years ago, right? Because back then, if you wanted to get into playing speeds a bit more often, you would basically have to find someone that would have experience in dot masters tournaments and things as such, for them to teach you how to play, what scripts are useful to use, and things like that. But nowadays you have people like me and Goose who literally record themselves playing the game, so it's not that hard to get into the game as it was before. um, Top three tips. I don't know if I will make a top three. That makes no sense. But one very important thing is, even as I said, there are videos now that you can watch and learn quickly how to play. You should not focus on just copying what's going on. You need to know what the person is doing, because I've seen a lot of people that just go and watch my videos and say, oh, okay, the order at which you upgraded things here was, I don't know, Iron Mine first and then something after. No, that can't be it. You need to know why you are upgrading things. You can't just follow an order. There is no rule on how to play the game. You just need to adapt depending on what situations you're in. That's the most important tip I can give you. You can become very good at farming and at doing all of that. It realistically is not that hard, but if you just keep a mindset that the correct way to play is to copy other players, that won't get you anywhere, because well, then you're just always gonna end up going with the same strategy, and it will become old and everyone will be able to beat you. That's basically it. So if you want
Yeah,
to
coming
become
up with your
good
own
at the
stuff.
game, it's not hard to become good at using the scripts. It's not hard to become good at farming. That's fairly easy to understand. But the most important thing you need to understand is you won't get better simply by copying others. And
Still
that's,
needs
yeah,
practice. You need practice so you can understand those things. You cannot just
exactly.
yeah. And he says best settings to learn and favorite settings. I guess those things that are like there's no really best settings for like everybody. There are some general settings that will apply to anyone, but I guess it's personal preference to what settings you're gonna use. For example, I know Duck used some settings that I don't, and some keybinds that I don't because I just don't like them.
I think
But
he's talking about the round settings, not necessarily settings in game and stuff.
oh yeah, best settings for me is tournament settings for sure. I don't know about Duck, but tournament settings you can like check them. It's basically an N1 with it's an N1 with tournament settings. Nothing else to say. I don't know what's Duck's favorite settings.
We'll be talking about that later when we talk about the tournament. But
Oh, for sure.
best settings to learn. It depends on what you want to learn, right? Because if your objective is to become good at fighting and at reacting to attacks and things like that, I would definitely suggest you to try out a bash round, for example, because it's way more important to be able to backtime and to react fast and to just know what you're doing in general. Then, for example, in an N1 round where you start with few points and it's basically just a sprint fiesta until you get to conquering people. If you want to get good at fighting, bash rounds are probably the best. But if you want to get better at sprinting, then yeah, N1s are definitely the best. And I've been seeing that on net server. There have been some rounds that are supposed to be welcoming for people into speeds. I see the settings of that, and I agree with that. The rounds are slower normally. They're like 250 to 300 speeds, something like that. And I've been seeing that on the Portuguese server. If the rounds are slower, then everyone will have a chance, even if they're not the best at farming or at doing anything like that. They can still compete because well, the round is simply slow. If everything is speed 400, then a lot of people won't have the chance to compete because they're too slow. And having those rounds definitely gets more people into speeds because they can have a chance. So you should probably try out those settings on the .net server, and and just get used to farming, get used to checking the map, seeing um, what your next objective is, if you want to conquer X player or another player, or what kind of troops you want to make. All of that, you can probably use those rounds, as they're probably going to be more chill rounds overall. They're not as fast. Um, so yeah, use those settings. I don't know what the name of the rounds is. Google can probably tell you. I'm not sure. But those settings I've seen are very very good and seem to be very welcoming to new players. Uh,
Yeah, and as you like learn, you'll just get to faster and faster speeds, and in some time you will be able to compete in any like speed.
Yeah, exactly. My favorite settings. This is very hard because while I like tournament settings a lot because they're the ones with the biggest skill gap, right? Um, Not everyone will be able to compete against me because yeah, there's a lot of mechanics that go into sprinting and being able to react and everything like that. I think my favorite settings are
Okay.
probably um, around with starting at a good amount of points, like 2.1k points, and a lot of barbs on the map. So you can just focus on conquering barbs and then just farm with all of the barbs and get a lot of off and just attack everyone. That's so chaotic, and I really like that. I like when the games are absolutely chaotic, and I think it makes it way more fun. You're just fighting permanently. So yeah, it really depends on what your objective on the game is. I know a lot of people that don't care about tournament settings because they say it simply is too boring because you need to focus a lot of the time in upgrading your village, and then a lot of people will still be behind and not everyone will have troops and stuff like that. So yeah, there's definitely people who prefer starting with more points because everyone has a chance, everyone will have troops, everyone will at least have a way to play the game to for them to have a chance, right? And in N1 that doesn't always happen. So it really depends on your preference, and yeah, you should try out all of the different settings and find out what's the best for you.
What is DV build? He says best DV build for speed. I don't even know what's
Yeah,
that.
I asked him. It was defense build, like
Oh,
composition of troops.
oh, defense build. I mean, usually in speeds in tournament settings, if you're playing tournament settings, there's no archers. It's only like spears and swords. But I would say because in speeds you make stuff faster, like spears can be better almost like in any situation. Like we've analyzed some stuff before and we figured out that actually going mass spears is better than just building, for example, spears and swords, because it's faster and it can defend better. And I think, yeah, spears can definitely be good. Some swords are not bad either, but I wouldn't go with the standard of like most world players do. It's like go 1000 spears, 1000 swords, and they just keep up like doing the same thing, like 1500, and they go up. So I would go more spears for sure, because you begin farming with spears anyways, so you will have more spears. Um, so yeah, I would say that spears is the best defense for speeds in fast runs. Yeah, for sure. But in like when the village is higher and there is archers and stuff, and you have so many villages and your village is maxed and stuff. For me, archers are just better in defense than archers, and spears are better defense than sword. But for tournament settings that we talked, I just say spears. And
Right.
it's just most annoying part of speeds as well.
We'll get to that after. Um, there are a lot of annoying parts on speeds, but um, I don't think that is the best defense build for speed. As I said in when I was answering the top three tips for the newbie part, you can't generalize around, right? Um, the best defense build for speed, as Goose was saying, it's different for tournament rounds. It's different for rounds with archers. It's not always the same. And for example, there's simply rounds where you'll want to have defense uh, move very fast. So you just I think my favorite fall is just spears and heavy calves, because I can do exactly that. It's just very fast to move the defense from one village to the other, and it's not as bad of a full as well. But yeah, I normally don't play defense, so yeah, it really depends on the round though.
Yeah, most annoying part of speed. I don't find really many annoying parts, but I would say like probably having so many stuff to manage and actually getting caught sometimes. I don't. It doesn't usually happen to me, but it happens to everyone eventually. Like if you when you begin the game, or like when you're trying to get better, like you get a random attacks, or you're trying to dodge and your troops get caught and you eventually just die. That's actually pretty annoying. That's what I find most annoying about speeds. I don't know anything. Another annoying thing is like getting a bad map and having no barbs to farm, and then you just stay behind the whole round and not have so as much like fun as the top player would have, because he would be demolishing everyone and like dominating the map. So that's the two annoying parts for me.
Right. I will have to disagree on all of that.
Oof, nice.
um, I don't think anything on the game itself is bad, right? I think that
I didn't say
losing,
it's bad though.
yeah, is
I
annoying.
said
I
it's
see.
annoying.
Yeah, but while it may be slightly annoying, I think the most annoying part is the players, honestly, because there are some very nice people on this game, but there are also some very annoying people. Like in my own server, on the Portuguese server, if you are good at the game, you'll instantly get thrown cheating accusations at. Everyone will say you're cheating. You can show them you're playing legally, and they're gonna say you're cheating always. And then they're gonna make teams of 35 players against you. That's basically how it works. We're seeing that happen now in that server. There's a group of players who are basically just spreading hate against another group of players, and that's how the server is keeping its activity now. And I think that is the most annoying part of speed. There are
I
better
wouldn't say it's
reasons.
annoying.
There are better reasons to play the game than to hate on other players. That's all I'm gonna say.
I wouldn't say it's annoying though. I don't find it annoying. I don't really care about that because you said most annoying thing about the game, so I just said what annoyed me when I used to play and when I used to start the game. But yeah, it's okay. Different opinions doesn't matter. Um, biggest difference between speeds and regular worlds. Ah, okay. So it's kind of self-explanatory by the name. It's like the speed. The
Of
worlds are slower for sure. Um, and yeah, I would say I don't think there's many big difference. It's just the speed. Like strategies also are different in speeds. Um, you cannot like plan for you know nobles and stuff because there's usually no nobles in competitive rounds. There's no four nobles coming at you, so you cannot just pre-stack a player for nobles. You can pre-stack. I mean, there's just different strategies, but I would say the speed. So you just have to like keep up with the speed. I don't know what else to say about that.
I'll have to agree with something louder than by me saying on the chat. The biggest difference is that you don't have to worry about the game anymore when the round is done. That's very true. And honestly, that's probably what keeps me playing. Because if I had, I've played some slower rounds before. I've played a classic round. I've played some worlds back in the day, but I never have the patience to keep playing that for very long because I have to wake up and be thinking about the game and be putting my troops to scavenge and things like that. I always have to worry about that permanently. And that's just simply not for me. I don't have the patience for that. And in speeds, you play for like 2 or 3 hours and it's done basically. It's yeah. That's what for me is the best part about speeds. But
Yeah,
in
definitely.
terms of strategies, there's also a really big difference. In worlds, you have basically all the time in the world to snipe trains, to define who you're gonna attack first, things like that. While on speeds, everything has to be decided fast, and that's also one of the things that keeps me playing because I see a lot of people on speeds having very wrong decisions, and yeah, that's one thing that people have to improve on overall. So yeah, I think that's a very fun part of speeds.
Okay. Do you think most top players on regular worlds would be good on speed? No, I don't think so. Because speed, I don't want to say it's an entirely different game, but it kind of is entirely different because you cannot just be good at speeds as a world player. You have to practice speeds on its own. So no, I wouldn't say a world player would be good on speeds. He would have some advantage because he knows the game in general, but he couldn't compete with top speed players for sure.
Yeah, the answer is obviously no. I'm not saying they are unable to, but you can't just switch from okay, I won a world, now I'm gonna try a speed and I'm gonna win it easily. I'm the best player in the world. That's not how it works. Um, where in worlds you have things like buying nobles and stuff like that. In speeds that doesn't exist very clearly, and it makes the rounds way more competitive, and you need to be way faster. Realistically, on worlds, you don't even need to use things like key press. It's you can just scavenge for life and you'll have resources. The strategies are very different, and if top players on worlds want to become good at speeds, they can definitely do that. Because they have the basics, right? If you have the basics to the game, if you know how the game works, you can get into speeds. Speeds are not hard.
Yeah.
Speeds are not hard to learn. Um, you can easily become good. I mean, just look at Goose. I, I started playing with him and he wasn't anything special, and now he's probably at my level, or even higher. Because yeah, I don't know. Um, we won't discuss skill of players here, at least not now. But um, it's not hard to get into the game and to become good at it. So most top players on regular worlds would be good on speed immediately. No, but if they want to, then sure, they can put some time in. They can grind. They can become better, and they can have a lot of fun with speeds. Yeah, that's what I think.
Nice questions from Floor, by the way. Then the other guy is asking which farm bot is the best. Yeah, I'm not gonna answer that.
Yeah, I believe the
Um,
best farm bot is my hand. It's very fast.
yeah, yeah, for sure. By the way, okay, so for people who think that actually cheating on speeds on like an N1, it's not faster than just playing regularly. Actually, if you just play with key press and you're doing stuff correctly, you will be faster than someone who is using a farm bot and cheating.
Yeah,
So you don't have to worry about cheaters in a N1. So yeah,
I've 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 always been playing on my home server now on the Portuguese server, as I've said, and there's definitely some people that use illegal scripts there, and I can definitely see that by the number of attacks mostly. But I also see that they are collecting way less resources than me. They are overall way less efficient, and if you're stuck on using farm bots, you'll just sort of ignore everything going on in the game. Basically, you'll just focus your game on that and believe only that will lead you to victory already, and that's not true. There's way more things you have to keep your mind on than just farming. You can be very good at farming, and it's definitely better to use keepers than any illegal thing, by the way, and it's very easy to explain why. um, the illegal things mostly try to do as much actions as they can, right? Because yeah, that's why people use those things, and that simply isn't possible in this game. There's a limit of 5 actions per second, and Keypress does exactly that. It sends 5 attacks per second, and I know I've been there. I've used illegal things, right? I'm not proud of that, but I have, and I can say that it's not worth because there are simply a lot of better tools that are legal. There's no reason to use illegal things. And I will answer this question again, just for everyone to be sure. There is a recording of the session, and yeah, you can rewatch after if you have to go now or something like that. But yeah, let's keep
okay.
going with the questions. I think I say we answered all of the questions that there are now, and then we get into
No,
talking about
Jo- yeah,
competitive
Jojo has
things.
some tournament questions, so we can talk about tournaments.
Yes, yes, we'll see. We'll
Okay,
answer everything there.
sure.
Keypress should
You
be
want to
banned
start
IMO.
talking about the tournaments? Okay. No, I don't think keepers should be banned.
I'm seeing that in the discussion chat. Interesting.
Yeah, I know. Keepers is um definitely helping a lot, but I don't think it should be banned because then you definitely wouldn't be able to keep up and like play the game without keepers. Just like having to manually send all the attacks like with I don't know, either clicking or like no, definitely not. You would be spending incredible amounts of time on farming, and I mean, okay, you could say that that would like for the players who actually know what they're doing, it could be good, but I don't think speeds would be as fun
Yeah,
because fun on speeds is about speed, and if you're doing everything so slowly, it's like it's not gonna be as fun.
and you also have the problem of farmbots, right? If there is no keypress, then people with farmbots will definitely probably still have the advantage, and you definitely don't want that to happen, right? Um, keypress allows people to play way better than they would in speeds. If we go see some recordings of older tournaments, for example, we see that everyone is sprinting very slowly and that the rounds take so much time to be over, and sometimes there isn't even a clear winner because everything is so slow. But now with keepers and stuff, you all are able to develop way faster. It doesn't mean that you'll be developing faster than everyone else. That won't happen. Everyone knows how to use keepers and knows how to play, but it makes the game be way more fast paced, and that's basically what speeds are, right? You want speeds to be speed.
Yeah, for sure. So Duck, do you want to start talking about tournaments and stuff? Because I know you had like some stuff in your mind.
Right. I I kind of wanted to just go through all of the questions, and then
Is there
um,
any more questions? I don't see. That's why I'm saying that.
there are a lot of questions. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you can start like reading the questions because I was doing it the whole time
Right.
right now.
That's okay.
If you want
And
to.
I think we
Okay.
do that, and then we talk about tournaments and stuff. And
Yeah, don't answer questions about tournaments yet. Like, okay,
no,
go with
I
the.
think we should though.
No. You want to
Okay.
answer judges?
No, okay. We'll leave that for after. But
Yeah.
we'll
Okay.
start talking about tournaments with answering the questions, and then we'll go more in detail to the tournaments, and Um, and then we'll go back to answering the questions if there are new questions. I think that's the best way for us
For
to do
sure.
this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have Val and asking what settings people didn't like, didn't understand what you said. It depends. I don't think there are any settings that people hate in general, right? There will always be someone that likes weird setting. Like for example,
No.
no, no.
Just no. Straight no. You remember those no gain, only pain
Oh, that's fun. That's
speeds?
very fun. That's so
That's
fun.
not fun.
That is so fun. What the fuck?
Okay, I guess yeah, he's right. Some weird people like him could like those things.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There
Okay,
will always
continue.
be people who are different and will like different settings. What the settings we're talking about are some settings on the UK server. Um, it was some rounds where the production of resources is very lowered. Instead of it being the normal production, it's like half of the production or three times less, something like that. So you basically are forced to farm. And that's kind of fun, honestly. It makes the skill gap be even bigger, and you have to be good at farming to be able to do well on that. And honestly, that's kind of fun.
Mm,
Yeah, Baldur is saying you need to know how to play early game. That's true. You don't practice that on pay to win worlds at all. So yeah, it's
you
it's
kinda
hard.
do, but not as much. For sure, not as
Yeah, but
much.
it's very hard to compare speeds to worlds, because in worlds you don't even have resources on barbs almost, because everyone's farming, right? And on speeds you don't see that. You don't always see that, and you see way more barbs even in the competitive rounds. So yeah,
In speeds, there's usually more barbs per player as well, because in normal worlds, I think it's like how much? Half or either one and a half
0.5.
barb
Yeah,
per player. Yeah, so it's half barb per player, and in speeds it's like in a normal round it would be like 8 to 10 barbs per player. So yeah, that's definitely like
yeah,
why
except for classic
farming.
worlds. Exactly, in classic worlds you can actually practice that, and if you're good at classics, speeds are basically the same but way faster. That's all.
Yeah. So is there any other questions?
There are, let
Yes.
me get to that. This is tournament stuff. What is the best to start doing at the beginning except farming? Well, you need to be farming. I don't know what else you were expecting me to say that. You have to be setting yourself up to what your plan is. So, for example, if you want to go for attack, for offensive troops, you won't be making extra spears and stuff like that in the beginning. You need to have a plan on what you want to do. It's not just farming, but you need to be making those decisions that I was talking about. That in worlds you have tons of time to make. In speeds you don't have that, so it's good to start the round by seeing your map, seeing where you are, seeing if your map is good, how many people you have around you on the map, who your first target is basically, and yeah, getting a plan just straight up from the beginning is very good, because then you can focus on upgrading your village, on getting more troops, on doing all of that. So yeah, I would say that's probably the best to start doing at the beginning
Yeah.
if you don't consider
Yeah.
farming.
Also, Jojo said, would you consider streaming speed on Tribal Wars International Discord? I mean, okay, I read this question. So, what I thought is in the beginning I said, but why would I stream on Discord? The thing is, it's actually very nice to see so many people in a Discord chat listening about speeds and wanting to get into speeds. So, like, if in the Discord chat there's like actually people watching, because in Twitch, for example, where Dax streams, there's usually like how many viewers do you get? Like five? How much?
It depends. It depends. I've gotten
Yeah,
15. I've gotten 3. Yeah, that's it. It really depends.
yeah. But for example, now there's 34 people inside the call.
Yeah,
So
never
yeah,
never got this for sure.
so yeah. Uh, for me at least, I would definitely like love to stream for such a big crowd. Because it would be so fun. So yeah, I would definitely consider that.
Louder than Bayam is saying that streaming is impossible. You will get a lot of stream snipers. It depends. It depends. I've
Stream
I've I've
sniper.
learned I've learned it the hard way that what you're saying is right. Because there was one speed I've streamed on the Czech server, and I had the link for my stream on my description on my profile. So I had like a lot of people watching, and then I just got bombarded with attacks in
I
specifically
was playing on that.
my offensive villages, right? So yeah, you'll definitely get a lot of stream snipers, but you can be streaming without telling the people in the world you are streaming, right? You can just be streaming to a select amount of people, and then maybe when the world is won, you can say that you streamed or you recorded the round, and then put the link there because people are going to be interested in seeing how you played and seeing how you outplayed the rest of the server, I guess. But answering the question about the streaming speed, I mean, why not? We do it all the time, so yeah. I've been basically recording all of the rounds I've playing now. I've been playing now. I haven't been playing that much, but when I play, I've been recording, and I know there's people who watch my vids and think they're very helpful because well, it's their way of learning how to play. Um, at least in a way, because yeah, as I was saying in the beginning, you can't just focus on copying what's going on. But yeah, the I would be down. Any more questions? Let's see. Are there any specific building templates that you are using in speeds or only basic ones? So for account manager, uh, I don't think Goose can answer this.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really use account manager on.
It
You
depends.
don't really use account manager on speeds.
It depends. In tournament
Um,
rounds, you don't, right? So you barely get more than one village there. But in other rounds, then for sure, if it starts with multiple villages or if it starts with a lot of points and you want to conquer Barabs and grow them, you definitely need to have better building templates than the basic ones. I think that from the basic ones, the resources template
yeah,
is awful. It's terrible. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. It upgrades like 5 levels of each mine like consecutively. Like
roasting.
yeah, I'm roasting the resources template, but the defense template is very good. I think that's one of my favorite templates. Like even from the ones people have made on purpose for a specific situation, I think the defense template is one of the best. Is there a link to these videos? Yes, there are multiple links to all of the videos possible. We'll send that in the end because yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of videos about that. What is he saying?
Let's
I'm
see.
looking forward to tournament conversations. What speeds and court settings should this
We'll
have?
we'll get there
I
after.
think we answered that already, didn't we? About what settings you should be playing when you start playing speeds. Wasn't it like one of the first questions we answered?
What? No, he's talking about tournaments. We'll get there after. We'll get there after.
Oh, tournament conversations.
Am I right understanding you want us to reduce village production on net speeds? That's not what we said. All I said was I liked
No,
those rounds. Goose
only
hated
he
them.
liked them.
Yes, exactly. There's people who like different things. If so, what barb numbers would compensate this? Yeah, you would have to put more barbs for sure, and probably have no wall on the barbs. That's yeah, that's for sure. Just a
I think
harder.
the other had
I meant
walls.
specifically for tournament. Oh no. You don't lower the resource production for that because in tournaments, you will have in normal rounds you have quite a good amount of people joining, but not all of them are going to be farming, right? But on tournament, it's exactly the opposite. You don't have as many people playing, but you have everyone farming. So there isn't as much farm, and if you lower the resource production for that, then
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna be there the whole
You
day
even
playing the round.
you might even consider upping the resource like production,
Yeah,
not lowering it.
normally
It's
the
1.2, yeah.
normally yeah the production normally is value 30. They put it at value 36, so it's times 1.2 the production and not times 1 normally. That's what the other admins in other servers have been doing. But let's start talking about tournaments then, and you guys can probably see the screen shot, right? We'll be sending some things there, some prints, um, mostly of older tournaments and things like that, because we can't screen share on this stage channel, so we'll have to resort to that. Um, so yeah, I don't know if you want to start talking about anything in specific.
Me?
Yes, there's no one else talking here,
Yeah,
so
about tournaments. So because as I said, I'm like kind of new to the game. I haven't played like so many tournaments as Dak has. I've played the most recent one, which was the tournament that France hosted. It was organized. I would say it was a pretty well organized tournament from the uh, admin that started it. Definitely though, what it made it not continue, because the tournament didn't actually end. Like the tournament just they they stopped the tournament in the middle of the tournament basically. I would say admin made some mistakes of making too many friendly matches, and those friendly matches were actually super exciting to watch. So you didn't have as much hype for the actual matches, and the players that were playing, some of them I think used cheats, and they kind of ruined the tournament, the whole atmosphere, and basically the players just ruined the tournament. So what Dak was saying previously, that players can be really annoying, that's also something that could be really annoying because community destroyed the tournament kinda.
Right. I think everyone is confused as to what you're talking about. Because most of the people here are probably not even competitive speed players. Some might. I know Phipson is
Yeah,
here watching. He played in that tournament. He was with us there. But most of the people are not there. So I'm gonna give some context to this. Um, in
sure.
uh, in like August of the past year, I think it was August, something like that. Um,
I don't
the
know. Yeah.
the French server had two new admins, and they were both players who played in the 10v10 tournament on the net server. So they were excited to be there to be an admin and to have impact on the game, basically. So they started by organizing this 8v8 tournament. The problem was there were a lot of discussions in the beginning about it being 8v8 because we were not even sure on how many people would play that, and a lot of people would prefer to have lower the amount of people per teams. Like a lot of people were suggesting it being teams of 5 and not 8. um, and there was that in the beginning, but then we just kept it going with 8v8, and there were a lot of teams. Actually, I'm not sure how many teams were there. There was a Romanian team. There
About
was
about nine. It was nine in the beginning, and then some. Like a team was like basically a troll team, so they got
oh
disqualified
yeah, yeah,
for not like even
house.
they didn't even manage the matches. They yeah. I think how not yeah house I think it was yeah the Romanian
Yes.
team. So yeah, it was eight teams, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, there were quite some teams registered onto that. I should have. Yes, I have this link here. I'm gonna send that. This was the teams that played on the tournament, um, and the standings and all of that. You can find all of that in that sheet that I sent. It was quite a considerable tournament. You can see there were a lot of people interested. The first thing is the standings. That's not completed. That was supposed to be a group stage. That was how the tournament was being organized, but the tournament simply never ended because yeah there were a lot of discussions in the end, and the admins just basically gave up on hosting that. But you can see in the teams there were a lot of people playing, and there was a lot of people interested on the game at that moment. So it was very fun to be practicing. It was very fun to be practicing, to be teaching your teammates some things that they didn't know, for example. And yeah, I think that was very fun. I played on the Brazil
Yeah.
team. You can see my name there, and
Where?
Bigman Kaka was playing under Bigman Kaka. That's Guz. He played for Void, and yeah, those were very funny moments.
And I think after this tournament, like when this tournament stopped, I think everyone just kind of quit the game because, in my opinion, tournaments are the thing that can keep speeds alive for competitive players. So yeah, after the tournament stopped, the players just quit.
Yeah. Before the tournament, as Guz was saying, a lot of private rounds were hosted for practice. And I see someone in the chat saying, "So glad that finally people are talking about speed servers." Well, you're welcome. We've been wanting to talk about this for very long, and we're definitely glad to be here, sharing our experience on it with you guys. Um, there were a lot of private rounds for practice and for fun mostly. So then when it came to the tournament rounds themselves, a lot of people were just tired and sort of exhausted from playing so much in the private rounds. I'll give you a quick example. The practice matches that were being played before. My favorite is level 3. Okay. Yes, that makes sense. I'll keep going with the tournament talk though. In those practice matches, we were actually commentating on the round. We were seeing what people were building. We were seeing the troops on the round every 15 minutes because it updates every 15 minutes the troop count on the stats page. We were seeing people being catapulted and all of that. We were outside of the round with like no information at all, just commenting on what was going on. And I know there were people reading that and thinking it was kind of fun. But when it started, the tournament rounds, people were just whatever. We've seen this so much. Uh, no
Yeah,
one
we
actually
already
cares.
knew what the good and the
Yeah,
not our. I don't want to say bad, but not as good teams were.
yeah, we knew what
So
to expect.
yeah,
So there were a lot of practice rounds. They waited for so long for the round for the tournament to start, and they had like a 1 month time for people to register. The teams were made in like 1 week, and people were starting to play friendly matches and all of that within 1 week. And no extra teams joined because the registering time was delayed. Like no one really cared. No one was looking for more teams, so I have no clue as to why they didn't just organize that earlier. But overall, I think it was very well organized. You can see there's a lot of people in the sheet I sent. People were wanting to play that. People were excited to play some competitive tribal wars, and um, it just wasn't that good because it wasn't that well handled. But not only that, players killed it too because the
yeah.
admins they joined they became admins and they were very excited to host tournaments, to talk to the community and to sort of try to revive the game. um, but the players, they just started flaming each other for no reason at all most of the times, like absolutely no reason, just shit talking each other. And a lot of them, um, I'll just be very precise here. There were two servers at which the rounds were being hosted. It was on the, yeah, players shit talking each other for no reason. Exactly, like a lot, all the time. But like
I
not.
mean, that's in every game. That's a thing.
Yeah, yeah,
You cannot
okay,
avoid
okay.
that.
But the thing is, they also shit talked the mods for no reason with that. Like, yeah. I don't know if
Whatever,
if you were
bro.
active on the chat, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. I want to answer this question because this guy asked how common was it with multiple players on same account in stream mobile. I don't think I've seen it on competitive. Have you ever seen like someone actually play from Steam or mobile with like a
Um,
co-player in the same round,
first of
like in
all,
competitive?
that is illegal. That's considered co-playing, and co-playing is not legal on speedruns. It's as simple as that. Uh, it
Yeah.
wasn't common at all, and if you were to do that, um, that wouldn't be good at all because you could be on a call with someone and coordinating. Ah, you do this, yeah, I do this, but then, for example, if one person was focusing on farming and the other was focusing on upgrading the things, then the person farming would sometimes not be able to farm as good as it would be possible to because someone is doing other thing. Um,
Yeah.
things like that. You wouldn't be able to coordinate as well playing with two people on an account as you would playing just yourself. So yeah,
Or for example, if the other person was farming and you wanted to attack, you would have no LC because the other person would be farming, for example.
there
You
is.
could say to stop. It's confusing. Like it's not good and it's illegal. So yeah, don't do it. I guess.
Yes, it's not possible anymore as well. Now you can't co-play between web and Steam. But yeah,
would you be open to screen share streaming yourselves playing a speed round on .NET to show your speed players how it can be played? I'd be willing to arrange a time, date, round length if you're interested. About the thing you said down for the strategy, as Doug said, there is no really specific strategy. It depends on the match. You can adapt however you want, so it doesn't really matter. And as we said, I think we're both down to stream and teach some new players how to get better at the game. I don't think Dak has a problem on that. Do
Yeah,
you?
I myself have recorded a few videos where I'm playing normally and I'm talking about why I'm doing X thing exactly to try to prevent people from just copying what I'm doing and then saying that's the correct thing. And yeah, I've done um, some videos like that. I can probably send some links after. I don't know if Jojo will be okay with that, but yeah, if he lets me, I will send some videos after if you guys want.
You
Um,
wanna answer those questions and then go about the tournament questions above? Because I really wanna answer the questions about the tournaments that we
sure,
skipped before.
sure.
Okay.
Um, let's go for that.
He asks your favorite server.
Wait,
He loves
we're
to.
ignoring a question up
Oh,
there. What's the biggest account you've had in a speed round, village or points? Um, it really I can't say it's the biggest account or something because in a world the settings are fairly the same normally, but in speeds there's a limited amount of time for the round. There's all of those things, so you're definitely going to have more points and more villages in rounds where well you start with more villages or there's more villages to be conquered and stuff like that. So I don't know. I've had things like 21 million points in different rounds on some servers. Like there's some rounds on the Italian server where your village starts with 1 million points. Like yeah, it's you can't say you can't consider having a lot of points of or villages in a speed as an achievement. That's just not how it works.
okay. So I wanna say something. A guy messaged me right now and he said like when is he able to talk because he wants to like say something apparently. Yeah, is it going to be a thing?
I'm not sure. We need to ask Jojo for that because that's not what we were paid for, right? We don't know what the other person is gonna say. If Jojo is
Yeah,
okay with
you
that,
see, the
then
guy
sure.
raised his hand. He was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah, I
say
saw that.
something.
I saw
Yeah.
that.
But I mean, you could probably type it down if
I
it's a
paid you.
question.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's yeah. If it's just a question, you can type it down. But it's really down to Jojo. If he's down, we have no problem with letting you speak. Did you not know?
yeah.
Your call. Okay. Uh,
Okay.
non-tournament question. Do you guys think there is too many speed servers? Is it better to get all of the speed servers on one Tribalwars page? I feel like there could be way more players playing on one server. Now there is like 20, 50 players per server, which gets a bit boring sometimes. Do you want to answer that first?
Wait one sec. I was yeah. Let me read. No. Do you guys think there's? Yeah, I was answering the guy's questions. He doesn't wanna talk anymore. Jojo said you can like share the links if you want. By the
Yes,
way.
yes. I'll do that in the
Yeah.
end of this because now we're talking and I will still be sending more tournament prints and stuff like that. Um, so yeah,
Oh
I don't
yeah.
want to spam the
About
chat.
the. Okay. About the question that Lauder asked, actually we've talked about this with Dak, about like having one main server for speeds, and we were thinking actually that that's a pretty good idea because having too many servers, like pretty much most of the people are gonna be playing on their own server. That's where you will find speeds. But having one, I guess you could say that the .NET is like a the main server that you could start playing speeds. um .NET had a lot of N0s, so not many people were playing, as we said. But now that .NET is actually going pretty well, I think you could consider .NET as the main server uh, to be playing speeds.
On the other side of the spectrum is, however, that currently you have a lot of choice to pick settings from. Exactly, that's my point.
Sure, yeah.
I completely disagree that there should only be one speed server for multiple reasons, right? Because I definitely agree that there should be one main server, like a server where the best players can play and compete like we had on Dot Masters, that was
Yeah, yeah.
closed sadly. But I don't believe that the national servers should be closed because that's where a lot of the new players will be coming from, and that's how they will eventually meet people like me or in other servers other people that will be willing to teach them how to play or be showing them how the game works basically. if
No, we
those
never
if
said
those
that.
if those national servers are not open, then how are you going to get new people into speeds? It's not going to be that easy. um and what else was I thinking about saying? uh yeah, the variety of settings, there's that. You can go to the TW speeds link and just pick your favorite settings and play that round. And there's only another thing. If all of the people were redirected to playing on one specific server, then initiatives like server tournaments or like private rounds on a specific server, that couldn't happen at all. And I think those are very important because, for example, on the French server, when that 8v8 tournament was taking place, there were a lot of private rounds that the French admins were making specifically to help the players from their team for them to become better. They would just see them screen sharing and tell them what to do or what they're doing wrong, stuff like that. And I think those initiatives are very important. And on .NET, which is a server that, well, I definitely agree that it is supposed to have 24/7 rounds so everyone can play. It just won't be the server where new people won't be introduced to speeds, and if they are, they won't be learning that much on that server. At least not like um,
Uh,
a specific learning, because on .NET you're just not gonna have private rounds made for 10 people, right? And on other servers you can see that happen, and that's how people get way better, basically. So I think that for Tribal Wars to be really competitive, I think it is very necessary to there be more than one server.
no, for sure. I didn't say that there shouldn't be more than one. It's like, of course, there should be the markets of like everything that's on right now. But I mean, a main server is actually really good as well. So you can have like people playing competitively on this main server. But yeah, I agree on that. That for
Val
sure.
says that Net existed before most national servers and it was huge back in the day, much bigger than it is now. In fact, I would argue that diluting the player base to so many servers decreases participation in worlds. And while I do agree that may be a thing, I think that's a problem because of how speeds are handled in the national level. Because I see a lot of servers making rounds that are like 3 day rounds or like even 6 hour rounds and things like that. And I see those rounds being won in like 1 to 2 hours. If the rounds were only 1 to 2 hours and there was another round after, stuff like that, people would have more fun and have more chances to join a round. They would have a round starting almost constantly. In a server, so it would give them more chances and more reasons to play the game. If there's only one server with like somewhat long rounds, like I don't know, 4 to 6 hour rounds, that's pretty short comparing to the worlds and stuff, but that's kind of long if you compare with what people are used to playing. Like I myself have been playing mostly 1 hour rounds now because they're still fun, uh, and I can practice a bit because yeah, I need to be fast, and there's still some competition. And while there aren't that many people playing, as I said, I mainly play on the PT server and the Italian server. I still think it's very fun because I'm playing against um, some players. They're eventually going to get better and maybe get more interest in getting into tournaments and things like that. So as I
Yeah.
as I was saying, I think that for the game to be competitive, there definitely is the need to there be multiple national servers.
About the question he asks, a guy says your opinion on increasing the round victory reward to promote speed rounds. That's not on us, first of all,
Yeah.
and for me, I mean, I can't say yeah, okay, increase the speed round. I'm not the one giving the rewards away, you know, but it would be cool for sure. But for me at least, I don't really care about rewards. Like speeds are supposed to be fun, and rewards come after. They're just a bonus, you know. I think if you wanna have fun and get better at speeds, you shouldn't just care about rewards. So I wouldn't say like increasing the rewards to promote speedruns because you know, like a world like has almost no reward. For example, first player gets what 500 premium points,
Yeah,
and
I
how
think
much
it's
does he
something like
spend?
that. Yeah.
Thousands. He spends like thousands. So yeah, people play worlds not for the reward, of course. So it's kind of the same for speeds,
Yeah.
and the speeds have high rewards if you think about it.
hmm
Like yeah,
If you go see on .net, let's see, Tribalwars .net. Um, the next round is a 3 hour round, and you get 100 premium points. You can spend um, just for premium account and farm assistant. You only spend 40 premium points, and if you win that round, you get 100 premium points. And if you don't win that round, you still have the next round. You can also get 100 PPs, and after you have the prizes are very good. If you want to play the speed rounds for prizes, you can definitely do that. It's very worth it. The prizes are very good. But the thing is,
yeah,
the people like me and Goose, we're not playing the speeds for prizes. We couldn't care less. That's not the point for us. So yeah. And one good question that I'm seeing is, whenever I play speed servers, the winner is usually 3 friends type, and solo players rarely wins. It is hard to find people to play with you on speed servers. I totally agree with that, and that's exactly why I have the my own Discord server that is an attempt to make a community for speeds, because that's what I want people to be able to do, to find people to play with, to find people to share their opinion on strategies with, and I believe things like that is what will keep the community alive. But specifically for rounds like that, um, it depends on what the objective of the admins is, right? Because if it's a round meant for tribe, like top one tribe gets X premium points, that makes sense that there would be a tribe round, right? But if you want it to be a solo round and you want to prevent people from playing together, or at least give more chances to people playing alone, there should be a farm limit so that offensive is better rather than defense, because if there's one player playing against three and one of the players of the group of three people is making defensive troops, then yeah, one player might not even be enough to clear just the one defense player, let alone the other two players who might be playing offensive, right? So to give more chance to people playing solo, farm limit is a really good setting.
yeah. For sure, it's a very good setting. I think you covered everything on that topic. I don't have really much stuff to say. Like, yeah, as we said, playing against a team, a friend group alone is annoying. Is one of the annoying parts of speeds. But that could also you could also see that as a chance to get better and try like manage a lot of stuff and try a 3v1. Like I do it sometimes. It's fun. If you're playing against good players, it's kind of impossible, but yeah, it's fun. You can see it as a way to improve sometimes.
Yeah, I'm also seeing someone talk about more servers equals more PP by equals more money. Okay, but
So that
in
too.
speeds that excuse doesn't exist. You don't need to spend an absurd amount of money to play the game. I've never put a cent on this game. You just see when the worlds are opening world in all of the servers, and you make a few premium points in every server. That's basically what I've done, and now I haven't made premium in very long, but I have like 1,000 premium in every server, and that's more than enough for me to play around if I want to. That's You don't need to spend money on on speeds at all.
Yeah, I don't think you need as well. You want to answer the tournament questions now?
Wait, someone is saying I'm the dirty cutter in the speed rounds. Do you think it is worth to rush cuts? What do you think about that, Goose?
Oh. Rushing cats is actually a pretty good strategy in my opinion. Like in in competitive, a lot of people just rush cats. I do it myself as well because cats is one of the best strategies to like get someone out of the game. So I don't want to tell you like, okay, you know what? Cats are good. Go rush cats because, as we said, strategies vary between every round. So for example, when I have a player really close to me, yeah, I would rush cats so I get him out quickly. But if I'm pretty safe and I have a lot of barbs next to me, and I can just like go build a big offense really soon, I wouldn't rush cats. So yeah, I don't want to tell you go rush cats, but rushing cats is for sure a good strategy.
I agree with that. And in tournament rounds, if you see some vids of tournament rounds or of private rounds, you'll see that no one is playing for academy or like basically no one because there is simply no reason to. Everyone is very close on the map, and people just rush cuts and take people out of the game basically. So then you make a 10v10 become a 10v9, right? And those small advantages is eventually what's going to give you the win. So I think cuts are way more important in private rounds than they are in public rounds because in a public round you're spending time making katas. I don't know if you make off or if you make def elkav and just kata people, but um, I think that in normal casual rounds, the best is to rush for academy if you want to be killing people. You won't get anything for taking people out of the game. It's better if you have multiple good villages with a lot of troops than if you're catapulting the people next to you while you could simply conquer that village and have two good villages. That's yeah. I don't think it is worth to be cutting everyone because yes, if there is a reason for you to cut someone, then sure. Let's say I don't know, someone you absolutely hate is playing on that round and he cutted you a lot of times already and you want a revenge. Okay, sure, you can cut that person for fun. But if you want a legitimate strategy to win consistently, it won't be going for katas and spamming katas on people. That's just not how it works.
Yeah, public and private rounds are different things. So yeah. Um, I really want to answer those questions for tournaments though.
Yeah, let's
And you,
let's get into that.
okay, finally. Okay, I want to answer. Okay, I want to answer Jojo's questions first. He said, "How would you like to see competitive speeds in tournaments organized? Which format? Would it be nationality versus nationality, market versus market? Okay, so how would I like to see competitive speeds in tournaments organized? First of all, I don't think it should be nationality versus nationality because, um, for example, me and Duck have different nationality, so for if we want to play together, we couldn't. And I think it would bring more people to the tournament because they could just go with whoever they want if they're just like build your own team and just yeah. So how would I like to see competitive tournaments organized? Okay. What I would say I would like to see in a competitive tournament is like not what happened in the France tournament. I think it was what limited amount of it was like kind of a bad thing that so many friendly matches happened. I don't really know what to say about how like I would like to see organized tournaments. That I mean that's I don't really know what to say. Do you have anything to say about like how to organize? How would
I
you
I
like
have a very different opinion on what you said before. I
about
definitely
what?
about the there about it wouldn't be nationality versus nationality tournaments. I think
You wouldn't be, for example, we couldn't be
I
quack.
know, I know, I know, I know we couldn't,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to split those things, right? I think that having one sort of a I don't know a speed World Cup every like 2 years or something like that, where you join where you get teams like of 10 people from each server. I think that would be very cool because you are promoting some sense of a unity between players that you've never played with. Let me give a very simple example. In the 10v10 tournament that Georgia knows I played on, that team I never used to play with that team. It was mostly Bigfoot that got me into playing with them. But I had a lot of players there that were basically my mortal enemies on the PT server. That's I never used to play with those guys, and playing that really made me unite with them and come together with them and find some strategies common to all of us to try to beat better opponents and things like that. I think that is very good to promote people playing together with people from the same market. But I think that at the same time, it is very fun to let people make their own teams. But I think there should be restrictions on that. For example, if there was to be made an 8v8 tournament, it simply wouldn't make sense for the teams to be open, right? I think that would make sense if the teams were from the same nationality, because you won't possibly have 8 legendary players from the same country, unless you're Romanian. But okay, we're not gonna talk about that.
Legendary.
Yeah, because if you're simply just gonna make a team with the best players ever, then how are the other teams gonna be able to do anything? Like, I don't think the game is in a stage where we have enough consistently good players for everyone to be able to make teams freely. I think that would make sense if the tournament was like a 5v5 tournament, a 3v3 tournament. That would make a lot of sense because, well, there are more than 3 good players in the game, right? But if you are to make an 8v8 tournament and you put like the 8 best players of the game in one single team, then the others have no chance at all and it's over.
The,
So
the thing is that I said that because if you make teams with nationalities, there's probably as we saw that on
yeah,
the French tournament, there's probably not gonna be enough
yeah, yeah,
players to fill those like things. So for sure, it could be like nationality and like some teams that are open. Yeah, so that could
yes.
happen. And .NET is actually like a lot of I heard a lot of admins from my own country saying that like if .NET for example started to, and a lot of players as well, that if .NET starts a tournament because of how big .NET is in comparison with other markets that wanted to start a tournament before, so many people are gonna consider playing. So yeah, I think if .NET started a tournament, it would be great for sure,
I
and
think
it would be big.
it's hard because it highly depends on each server, right? You can tell
Yeah.
.NET to organize a tournament, and they did in 2020. But you've also seen a lot of teams that were on that tournament that simply had no chance at all. So if if we want there to be some success in nationality versus nationality tournaments, there have to be incentives on internal speeds for people to play speeds because for example, on the Romanian server, there are a lot of good players because they're always playing against each other. There's a reason to join the rounds there. It's a very big team versus team, always fighting in those Romanian rounds. But if you join, for example, the Hungarian server, for example, there's there's like 10 people joining those rounds and basically everyone is bad. There's absolutely no reason for you to join those rounds. You won't become better at the game. You're not playing against good players. That's just a waste of time. So it really comes to all of the community managers of each server to incentivize speeds on their own server because yeah, you can't possibly get 10 of the best players of a specific server to play against people from other servers if there aren't even 10 consistent players on your server. That's yeah.
Yeah,
But
for
you
sure.
you were asking about how should tournaments be organized. um
Uh,
I think there are a lot of things that could be talked about here, but it really depends. You can make a lot of different things work. Brackets work, group stage things work. 1v1 tournaments are good, 3v3 tournaments are good. Everything could be good. The variety on settings is what I always think makes the game more interesting. I've talked to Jojo about this before. But yeah, I think variety of settings overall and a variety of amount of people per team would make tournaments very fun. And something that I would also like to see, that I basically never see, is people seeing the rounds from inside of the spectating client. We've seen a French admin do that before in a 1v1 tournament that I wanted to talk about after. We've seen him do that before, and it is very interesting to see it from an inside perspective, how the strategies of the people who are playing are, because in when someone's playing, you can see the guest access, but you don't have an idea of how many army that the people will have and stuff. But in in that tournament, in the ending rounds, the admin was recording the game from the admin perspective, and like commenting on what the people the players were doing, like, oh, okay, he's sending a fake attack, something like that. He's going for off. I don't know, like commenting on a football game, but Tribalwars version. You know what I mean. That
That's
I think,
fun, but
yeah, that's very fun.
no, it depends on the admin. Though this admin wanted to do that. Like, I don't know if any admin just wants to do it. For example, anyone has stuff to do, so you can't say, okay, admins have to do that in order to make
Yeah,
speeds
but
more fun.
no, it wouldn't necessarily be that makes speeds way more fun. But even if
Yeah,
there was a way
seeing it.
for, I don't know if that's possible at all, but for people who are not of the stuff to be able to have access to that tool, like, for example, someone would like to comment on that. Like, I would love to be commenting on those 8v8 rounds, and then seeing from the inside of that tournament we were talking about before. Um, and just seeing what the strategies are, what they're going through, what they're planning on doing from inside of the game. And yeah, I can't do that because I'm not a staff member on that server, even if I wanted to. And the staff members can't give me the permission to do that because, yeah, I'm not a staff member. So if there was any way to make that possible, that would be very cool, because then you could have like people who are um, sort of directing themselves to casting what others are playing. And I think it would be very interesting for even for newer players to see what the strategies are in private rounds. Simply from a legal POV, you can't do that. Oh, okay, that's a rip then.
What did you say that?
In discussion.
Oh, oh, never mind. Nice.
Um,
um,
yeah,
let's see. Let's see.
let's keep going with the questions.
Yeah.
Let's see. Um, I'm looking forward to tournament conversations. What speeds and core settings should these have? I think that the best speed, the speed should always be high. Like, there's no reason to do anything below 350 speed on tournament settings. There's no reason for that. It might make sense for I don't know, for more casual rounds on.
Yeah, but you said tournament, so it has to be competitive.
Yeah, it has to be a fast round that, well, not everyone would be able to easily get into, right? If it was just a speed 250 round for 6 hours, I mean that wouldn't even be very competitive. That would just be slow. Just have to have Google train as commentator. Well, I guess that's something for him to look forward to. Good luck.
Nice. But yeah, I guess having high speed is a must for sure in competitive, because you in every game getting into competitive is a grind, and I think that should be it for this game as well, because that grind is the fun part, and what makes you like wanna grind is getting into the competitive, and must be hard. Like, not everyone should be just okay, what should I do, let's play a competitive round today, because that's not
By the way,
fun.
to people who are questioning what the tournament settings would be, I sent on the screen share chat a topic of the settings that were in the 2020 tournament. Those were the settings in that tournament, and you can see the stats for those rounds in this side here. There were a lot of rounds there. We could comment on them, but there's no point. That was so long ago. But yeah,
Boulder said,
you can
who
find
is the goat of speed?
the things there. This is the brackets
Oh,
and
yeah,
the
my
winners.
bad.
Yeah, I have all of those tabs open, ready to send here. Who is the goat of speed?
Me.
Don't know, but Duck here is really good. I mean, I don't know about that one. Uh, you can't say there is one best player ever. It depends on the strategy. You might go against a player that just counters your strategy completely. It depends. There isn't one best player. There have been ego tournaments before. There was this tournament, a 1v1 tournament. I'll send this on the
You want
screen
to
share
talk about
chat.
the 1v1 tournament?
This. I can do that. Um, for sure, if you want. That was the map. It was a mirrored map on that tournament. It was very fun because the strategy for farming did not change at all. As you can see, the map is always the same. So they just loaded that map, and then you just had to have the strategy to beat the other player. And of course, you're playing against a really good player, so you're not gonna be farming way more than the other guy. You won't be 500 points ahead. That won't happen. So you need to actually outplay the other player, and that was very fun. But there was a obvious problem, and yeah, I have to talk about that. Luck is very bad for those rounds. In a 1v1
Yeah, luck
tournament,
is a thing.
yeah, if you're playing defensively and you're going against an offensive player, the offensive player can have minus 25 luck and you win, or he can have plus 25 luck and it's over for you. It's not that competitive as a 10v10 could be, because in a
But
10v10
I
there's multiple attacks. So
I think it could be fixed though. For example, if there is gonna be a 1v1 tournament, that can be fixed.
I don't think they can
Uh,
remove
the
luck.
luck
I've
factor.
suggested that before.
No, not to remove luck. For example, what I was thinking is like, you know there is flags in the game. For
Yes.
example, it could be a flag that like sets luck to 0 or something, and if you play a 1v1, you would automatically get this flag or
Yeah,
something like that.
I'm not sure if that's possible. We have
I
Jojo
don't know.
listening, so
Yeah.
he can say if it's possible or not. But yeah, I really don't know. Let me
What
see.
team says would you suggest for a new tournament? As we said, 8v8, 3v3, 1v1,
Now
10v10s are really good.
at this moment, at this like right now.
No,
Hmm.
at this moment, yeah,
It
5v5s are good.
it depends. I think it would really depend on what the community managers on different servers um are okay with doing to boost speeds on the servers, right? Because for now, I think it would make a lot of sense to have like a 3v3 tournament, just to get people started in speeds. Even for groups of players that aren't that good, that can still be very fun. Just learning how to play, playing some private rounds, seeing how different it is from the casual rounds. I think that is very fun. But well, last time I organized the 3v3 tournament, no one played. Oops.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
But I think that could work, and I can't just say that okay, let's make a 8v8 tournament now. There just aren't players for that. It wouldn't make sense. So I think we
Jojo
should.
said that the luck flag is not gonna be possible.
Oh,
So yeah,
okay, then it's over.
yeah. What were you saying?
Um, I don't even remember exactly, but let's just
Oh,
keep going through the questions.
do you see any other questions?
Let's see. What did we ignore here? I answered this. Um, favorite server. We answered this. Uh, what do you guys think of tournaments where only one player can win? On NL, we had a couple of tournaments, and naturally teams would farm to help one player. It was great fun. Would also be easier to make a tournament like that, and you can have more different settings each round. I actually played. I actually played a tournament on .nl. I played. I'm not sure if it was in the past year or if it was 2 years ago. But I played that tournament that they normally do yearly, and I got second. I lost against Kultalaku or whatever his name is. A very good player, honestly. I wasn't expecting him to beat me there, but I just played twice with the same strategy, and yeah, I was still too stuck on following a specific pattern of playing, and so I lost because of that basically. So yeah, that's what I mentioned all of that in the beginning, that it is very important to not always do the same thing. Um, those rounds are very fun, but as you said, it's very hard to make sure it will be a solo tournament, right? Um, teams are always going to be formed. So if you really want a solo tournament to be made, there has to be. Yeah, it wasn't possible to make tribes, but still everyone was playing as a team. There were like 5 players playing as a team. I know that because I played with them. Like I've played. How many rounds were that? That was like 10 rounds. I played like only 3 of the rounds and I won all 3 of them. And I qualified for the 1v1 part. I didn't even play most of the rounds. Um, but I played with them, and you just I say you should be possible to make tribes so teams would form. I don't. It depends on what the idea is. If you want to make a team tournament, then you make a private tournament of private rounds. Yeah, if you want to make a solo tournament where you can qualify to to a different stage, like it was on the .nl server, I think it would make sense to simply have a farm limit on the rounds. So it's more based on fighting, and yeah, it's more competitive overall. That's what I think. But okay, let's
So
you talk, yeah.
yeah, so do you wanna like talk about past tournaments because I don't know if there's much to talk about them, and I can't really like say anything about them. Or you like what do you wanna do?
Um, I
Because I
honestly
don't see
do
other
not know
questions.
because yeah, there aren't many questions now anymore. I don't know if anyone still has any question, just drop it down there. But for tournaments, all I wanted to say is that there is a really big variety of settings we can use, and all of them can be fun. Like we can have rounds starting with the classic tournament settings with mines at level 6 and everything else zeroed, or we can have tournaments starting with bigger villages and see how good people are at managing different villages. I think all of that can be very fun, and we've seen it in other tournaments how people like grinding for the tournaments and how much people want to become better and to represent well. Because most of the tournaments have been nationality versus nationality. People want to represent themselves well and teach more players how to play better and things like that. So there definitely is the potential for tournaments on this game, and yeah, I think admins should definitely invest on that, but players need to want to play that, right? Because yeah, I don't see many
Yeah,
players wanting to play that right now.
yeah, for sure. I mean, okay. Since there's no many questions, right? I mean, there's no other questions as right now. I think we should close this up. Um, well, okay. So, are you done with that?
I'm definitely down. I think this was a
Okay,
good
sure.
first session.
Yeah.
I don't know when the next is gonna be. I don't know if you like this enough for there to be a next. It all depends on the feedback, right? If you guys think it is worth on doing a next one, then we'll do that. We definitely don't mind talking about the game, as you could see that already. Yeah, we like the game. We think there's potential for it to grow. We think there is a reason for people to play. Um, and yeah, you guys can
I
always,
really want to thank Jojo as well for like
yeah,
setting this up and bringing us to like speak to you, and that was so fun for us as well. I enjoyed it really much, and yeah, I want
yeah,
to say
because
thank you as well to Jojo.
multiple people had been planning to make a podcast, but making it on the official Tribal War server is just gives it a completely different dimension, right? Because there's way more people watching here. So yeah,
For sure.
definitely gotta thank Jojo for giving us the opportunity to do this.
Yeah. So I guess we, if this happens again or when it's gonna happen, we will see you again. Like so yeah,
We'll see. I will
yeah,
send some vids um, in the screen shot that you guys can watch after. Hope Jojo is paying a lot. Uh,
yeah. He's paying a
where's
lot.
the payment, Jojo? You're missing out. There won't be a next one like this. I am joking. Yeah, I will send. I'm dropping out. Bye. I'll send some vids on the screenshot shot. You guys can check them out. If you guys have any doubts, you can just at me and I don't know, just ask me anything. I'm here. So yeah,
Are you gonna send your videos?
yeah.
Should I
I'll.
send some of mine as well?
It's up to you. You can.
I'm gonna send.
I'm gonna send the one where I'm explaining everything. So
Sure. Okay.
this right. I'll send the sprint round. This there. Um,
I'll just send some two
yeah,
videos and some
those are
PvPs.
very good. Now just send one. Don't send that much.
Only that.
Also
Okay,
mention the
that's enough.
feedback, right? Drop your feedback in the feedback channel. We definitely need to know what you guys thought about this. Yeah,
Yeah,
if you
for
guys
sure.
didn't think this was good, then it's not worth to do it again. But if you guys like this and would like to see us talk about other different subjects, as Jojo says, then yeah, definitely type all of that in the feedback chat, and we'll be seeing what you guys say, and yeah, planning a next one. So yeah,
Yeah, sure.
I think that's it.
Yeah,
I hope you
that's it.
guys have fun watching the vids. If you guys have any questions, you guys can always let us know. Those vids are very good, honestly. There's a general sprint tutorial on my vid, and then there are some private rounds, some vids of that, so you can get a feel of what the private rounds are. That's very fun, at least in our opinion. Yeah,
Yeah, okay. See ya, guys. It
yeah.
was fun.
See you guys. It was fun. Thank you for watching, and we'll probably see
Bye.
you in the next one. Bye bye.